If a plant in your home suddenly started to bloom, would you know what it really means? Careful. This could be a sign that very few people can truly read, and it might just change your life. Ever heard of an aloe plant in bloom? You might know it as aloe vera, that handy little plant that's good for just about everything. But here's something hardly anyone knows. When it blooms, something incredibly rare, it's as if a hidden door opens. In many traditions, its flowering is seen as a spiritual signal. Something has ended, and something new, something better, is about to begin. It just sits there quietly, enduring time, taking care of you, until one day, out of nowhere, it shoots up a tall stalk and blossoms, almost as if to say, "Now you're ready." Countless people say that right after this happens, the whole house feels lighter. Things start to flow. Good news seems to show up without explanation. Coincidence? Or maybe nature is trying to tell you something and you just haven't noticed. Today, you'll learn why this rare event can transform the energy of your home, and even more importantly, how to recognize the signs before they slip by unnoticed. Stick with me until the end, because you're about to discover how to know if your aloe plant is sending you a message about luck, protection, or something far deeper. Drop a comment below. "I've seen this happen," if you've witnessed it in your home, or "I need to understand the signs," if you want to know what your plant might be trying to tell you. But here's the thing. Many people ignore these signs and miss important messages from the universe. Don't be one of them. Speak up in the comments and take that first step. This could be the sign you've been waiting for. Aloe vera is one of the oldest medicinal plants in the world. There are records of its use in ancient Egypt, where it was called the plant of immortality. Cleopatra was said to use it daily as part of her beauty routine. The Greeks believed it could heal battle wounds, and in many indigenous traditions around the world, aloe is seen as sacred, used in purification and spiritual healing rituals. But why does this plant, which today might be sitting in a simple plastic pot on a kitchen windowsill or back porch, carry so much meaning? The answer starts with biology. Aloe is a succulent. It stores water in its leaves to survive long droughts. It's tough, almost self-sufficient, yet deeply sensitive to its surroundings. That alone is a powerful metaphor. It holds strength within, but only blooms when the conditions are right. Scientifically, its properties are well documented. Wound healing, burn relief, digestive health, cell regeneration, skin hydration. A complete medicinal plant with an energetic potential that's often underestimated. Do you have an aloe plant at home? Have you noticed how it survives even on the toughest days? Even when forgotten, it stands strong, quiet, still, watching. And maybe, if you give it a little more care, speak to it. Yes, speak. You might notice something different, a sign, a flower, a message. If you've got one, pay close attention to what I'm about to say. It could be trying to tell you something. Science explains its strength. History confirms its importance. But what almost nobody tells you is what happens when it stops just surviving and begins to celebrate. That's where spirituality comes in. Aloe blooms are so rare that for some owners, they may never happen in the plant's lifetime. And when they do, they're often dismissed as a botanical oddity. But in many spiritual traditions, this moment is anything but ordinary. It's a symbol, a sign, a blessing. In Latino folk culture, for example, an aloe bloom is seen as a powerful spiritual event. It's said that when aloe flowers, the home has been purified, a cycle has ended, or a strong energy has been unlocked. It's as if the plant can sense the atmosphere around it and only decides to open when everything is aligned. Some see the bloom as a symbol of rebirth, a plant that spent years in silence, enduring whatever came, now allows itself to blossom. And it's no ordinary flower. It stands for healing, hope, and transformation. And more than that, it never blooms in a flashy way. Its flowers are slender, sometimes drooping, as if they're whispering a secret to you, softly, in their own time, with no rush. Some say that when an aloe blooms, it means good news is on the way. Others believe it's the spirit of the home's guardian showing itself in floral form. It's like nature saying, "You made it. Now, let yourself receive." Think about it. What was going on in your life when your plant bloomed? Had you just gotten through a tough time? Were you feeling lighter? Did someone special come back into your life? Or maybe you felt at peace for the first time in a long while. These blooms show up to mark moments, even if you don't realize it at the exact time. And if you've never seen your aloe bloom, maybe this video found you right now for a reason. Maybe it's getting ready. Some people say that when aloe blooms, a new chapter begins. Others believe it's a protective spirit showing itself. And you, what do you feel when you look at that flower? If this has happened to you, drop it in the comments. I want to know what changed in your life afterward. Few plants have the commanding presence of the snake plant, also called mother-in-law's tongue or sansevieria. Its firm stance, long upright leaves, and nearly unshakable resilience, everything about it says strength, protection, and watchfulness. It's not just decorative. In many spiritual traditions, it's seen as a silent guardian. It doesn't demand constant attention. It doesn't wither easily. It simply is. Watching, feeling, absorbing what's not being said, but lingers in the air. The tension, the unspoken words, the energy in the room. Symbolically, the sansevieria represents the archetype of the spiritual guard. Its sword-like shape evokes protection, the cutting away of bad influences, the separation between what is welcome and what needs to be cleared out. And scientifically, it delivers on that role. It's one of the few plants that continues purifying the air at night, converting carbon dioxide into oxygen while you sleep. Now picture this, a plant that breathes alongside you as you rest, that filters out what's heavy, that waits in silence for the right moment to bloom. It grows quietly, almost as if observing, and only flowers when it senses you're strong enough to receive an invisible gift. That moment, the bloom, is incredibly rare. When it happens, it's as if something has been unlocked, as if it's saying, "Now your home is ready. Now you can receive." The snake plant has been used for centuries in rituals for protection, spiritual cleansing, and even as a charm against bad luck or the evil eye. And even if you don't follow any particular belief, simply being near it can make you feel something different. A grounded presence, a quiet that feels safe. If you have a snake plant at home, keep an eye on it. It might just be preparing a surprise for you. Seeing a snake plant bloom is so rare that many people think it's impossible. But when it happens, it doesn't go unnoticed. Its flowers are delicate, almost shy, with a sweet fragrance that appears mostly at night. And that alone carries a deep symbolism, a flower revealing itself in silence, in the dark, like a keeper of secrets. In many spiritual traditions, this bloom is a clear sign that something has been overcome. It's as if the plant is saying, "The storm has passed. Now, it's time for flowers." And that message can mean many things. For some, it's a sign the home is in balance. For others, it's a quiet note of protection, as if unseen forces are standing guard, telling you it's safe to move forward. The sword, once purely defensive, now opens. Its flowers don't last long, but when they appear, they mark a moment, a sign, a spiritual whisper, a symbol of unity, resilience, and quiet blessings. Many people share that after their snake plant bloomed, positive changes followed, family reconciliations, a rise in the home's energy, clearer dreams, a sense of lightness. It's as if the plant, once just absorbing, now begins to give something back. The language is subtle but powerful. It's as if it's saying, "You've weathered the storm. Now you deserve flowers." This feeling goes beyond aesthetics. It's the sense that something inside your home, or inside you, has healed. You might not even know what it was. You might just feel lighter, that you can breathe easier, that the nights are calmer. And in that moment, when you notice the flower, something inside aligns too, as if your heart and the plant are saying the same thing. Now, it's time to receive. Do you feel like your home has been through a rough patch and now feels lighter? Share what changed. Your story could inspire someone else who's still waiting for their own flowers. Have you ever felt like the universe was trying to tell you something, but chose silence to do it? In countless homes across the country, from small apartments in New York to cozy houses in the Midwest, ordinary people have experienced something extraordinary. A plant that's never bloomed before suddenly transforms. No warning, no explanation. One day you wake up, walk past your living room or balcony, and there it is, different, in bloom, and something inside you changes too. Even if you can't explain exactly why, it's the kind of thing that seems small, almost unnoticeable. But it carries a symbolic weight that goes beyond logic, something that touches a deep part of the human mind, our need for meaning. Psychologists tell us that our brains are wired to look for patterns. We're constantly connecting dots, creating meaning, searching for signs. Pure coincidence is hard for us to accept. That's why when a plant like aloe or a snake plant, one that can go years without a single change, suddenly decides to bloom, our minds instantly ask, "Why now?" And that's where the myths, the beliefs, and the hidden messages come alive. In many traditions, from parts of Latin America and Africa to Asia, people believe that the blooming of a guardian plant only happens when there's powerful spiritual energy in the space. It could be the presence of an ancestor, the healing of an old wound, or the start of a brand new chapter. The common thread in these stories is this: the plant feels before it blooms. And when it does, it's delivering a message from something greater. Now, picture this for a moment. You're going through a rough season. Your home feels quiet, but not in a peaceful way. There's a heaviness in the air. The next day, you notice your plant has bloomed, and without even realizing it, something inside you shifts. It's not logical. It doesn't have a name, but somehow it feels like someone's watching over you. These stories keep popping up. People who saw blooms just before receiving good news. People who saw blooms before a long-awaited reunion. People who saw blooms and understood it was time to let something go. It sets off an emotional chain in your mind. First, surprise. Then, the search for an explanation. Finally, your own personal interpretation. This process lights up parts of the brain tied to emotional engagement and memory retention, which is why you remember strange little moments like this for years. It's also why these stories hook us so deeply. They stir something you've either lived through or could experience at any moment. That's the quiet power of invisible signs. And here's the curious thing. Even among people who say, "I don't believe in any of that stuff," there's still a hush when a plant blooms. No one ignores it. No one just tosses it aside. Because even without words, something inside says, "This means something. I just don't know what yet." Some believe that when these plants bloom, it means a cycle is closing. Others see it as a subtle farewell, and some take it as a release of blessings, the bloom as a seal of spiritual approval. Different interpretations, but all orbiting the same feeling that something important is about to happen. And the truth is, no one can tell you what it is, except you. This is the kind of symbol that doesn't demand attention. It reveals itself. It doesn't demand an answer. It plants a question. And that question can echo for days, weeks, until the answer appears in the form of a decision, a dream, or simply a new season of your life that begins quietly. Because sometimes a plant blooms, and only later do you realize what truly changed. That's the power of hidden messages. They don't shout. They whisper something you already know, but forgot to listen to. If this has ever happened to you, if your plant bloomed in a special or unusual moment, share it in the comments. What did you feel? What happened afterward? Your story might help someone else understand what's about to bloom in their own life. When we talk about an aloe or a snake plant flowering, it's easy to dismiss it as just mysticism. But science has a lot to say here. And when you really listen, it doesn't erase the mystery. If anything, it makes it bigger. From a botanical perspective, both aloe vera and sansevieria are incredibly resilient. They're adapted to dry, harsh climates, engineered by nature to survive the extreme. They store, they conserve, they wait, they waste nothing. And that's why their bloom is so rare. These plants only flower when every single factor is perfectly aligned. Ideal light, the right temperature, a complete absence of environmental stress, balanced temperature, full maturity, and a complete absence of environmental stress. They can wait for years, and only when they know it's time, they open. Here's where it gets interesting and deeply symbolic. Science can explain how it happens, but it can't tell you why now. Countless stories show these blooms appearing right after intense emotional seasons in a home. After long illnesses, after loss, or after deep inner change, someone finding their faith again, breaking free from a toxic relationship, stepping into a brand new chapter. Coincidence? Maybe. But here's the thing. Psychology teaches us that the human mind craves meaning to emotionally reorganize itself. In hard times, we look for outside signs that validate our inner shifts. These signs become symbolic anchors. So when a quiet, unassuming plant blooms right at that moment, something in our subconscious links that event to healing, renewal, and the turning of a page. The plant doesn't know this, but you do. And that awareness is what transforms something biological into something spiritual. In fact, research shows that experiences with strong symbolic weight, like an unexpected flower, can boost dopamine and serotonin levels, especially if you interpret them as good signs or rewards. Translation: you feel good because something rare happened, and your brain rewards you for it, locking that emotional memory in place. That's why stories like this stick with us, not because we're desperate to believe in miracles, but because we need meaning to help us sort through the chaos of real life. And here's a little-known but powerful fact. The snake plant, for example, often blooms at night. You won't see it open. You'll just wake up one morning, and there it is. Quiet, hidden, like a private ritual performed in the dark, far from your eyes, but close to your heart. Its flowers release a soft, sweet fragrance that triggers the brain's scent memory centers, the same ones tied to nostalgia and emotion. Which means, without even realizing it, your body is registering that something special is in the air. And here's where science and spirituality meet. Science measures the light, the humidity, the plant's growth cycle. Spirituality reads the timing, the context, the emotional impact. They don't contradict each other. They complete each other. Science says it takes light, water, and time. But anyone who's seen a bloom appear after a hard season knows there's something more. The plant was there all along, quiet, waiting, and when you least expected it, it spoke, not in words, but in a flower. In that instant, even the skeptic in you surrenders. Because what is rare, silent, and unexpected reaches us in a way no rational explanation can replace. If your plant has bloomed, or is just about to, it's more than something pretty to look at. It's an invitation to pause, breathe, and notice. Because in a world that's loud, fast, and constantly urgent, a flower that blooms in silence carries a message the eyes don't always catch, but the heart does. The flowering of an aloe or a snake plant has long symbolized in many traditions a spiritual opening, a moment when invisible doors swing open, when the home, the body, and the spirit are ready to welcome new energy. That's why this moment should never be overlooked. It's not about superstition. It's about symbolic attention. And when you step into it consciously, you're tuning into that energy. You're responding, you're receiving. So if your plant has bloomed, or is on the verge, try this small ritual of gratitude. It's simple, but it runs deep. The silent bloom ritual for prosperity, protection, and wisdom. You'll need one white candle, one glass of water, one small piece of paper, the plant that has bloomed or is blooming now. Step 1. Presence. Sit near the plant, preferably at night, in the same space where it lives. Take 3 deep breaths. Notice the leaves, the blossom, the way it has opened. Let it sink in that you're in the presence of something that took years to happen. That, in itself, is sacred. Step 2. Light and intention. Light the candle. The flame is more than just light. It's presence. It represents what's being revealed to you in this very moment. Focus on gratitude. Even if you don't know exactly why, give thanks. Because life is showing you something, and simply being aware of that is already a blessing. Step 3. Water and writing. Take the paper and slowly and intentionally write this single sentence. I am ready to understand what this flower wants to show me. Place the paper under the glass of water. In this moment, the water represents openness, your willingness to receive. Leave it there overnight. Step 4. Active silence. Don't ask. Don't question. Just sit for a few minutes in silence. This stillness is part of the ritual. It's in this quiet space that the deepest messages can arrive. The next morning, you can water the plant with that same water. Now it carries your intention, your listening, your response. This ritual isn't magical because of the objects. It's magical because of your presence. And what turns any moment into a spiritual one is how you choose to connect. Tonight, if your plant has bloomed, light a candle. Sit with it. Ask for the wisdom to understand what this sign wants to reveal. You don't have to understand it all right now. Sometimes what the plant shows you today won't make sense until weeks or months later. What matters is that from this moment on, you've begun to see, and that alone is transformation. If you'd like more rituals like this to awaken the energy in your home, hit that subscribe button. Every week, I share nature's hidden secrets for turning your home into a sanctuary of abundance, protection, and spiritual clarity.